Noah Lyles winning the 100-meter in the way that he did,
That was good.
that was a huge moment. Everybody remembers what they were doing when he won that.
Damn, I forgot about Noah Lyles in the Olympics. I'm gonna be honest. But he ain't Caitlin Clark though. So
But we're talking about one single moment.
Let's say Caitlin Clark was like, yo, I don't want to play basketball anymore. I want to be an accountant. There are so many people that wouldn't have paid attention to basketball. Right? But if Noah Lyles loses that race, it doesn't really change anything per se. So from like an impact standpoint, Caitlin being drafted into WNBA impacted the entire infrastructure of the business of women's basketball. Welcome to another episode of the Fumble. I'm your guy, Rodney Rikai. We got Samaria Terry wearing a very modest black top today. What's up, sistren? How are you feeling? What's going on in your world? How was Christmas?
Christmas was great, but I want to ask you how you're feeling. You always ask me how I'm feeling. How's your spirit, Rodney, today? After the holiday?
Finally, she gets it. Finally, some reciprocity around here. Jesus Christ. That's all I've been waiting for. Oh, let me tell you, I'm good. I've had great therapy sessions. I've been by myself. My son is gone for the holidays. So I hired someone to clean my residence, and I've just been stewing in my own nudity and the comfortability of my home without teenage impediment to my joy and happiness. So I'm good.
It's crazy to think that 2025 is next week, dude.
How you feel about that?
I don't know how to feel, but we do have a whole episode dedicated to all the top moments from 2024.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it. You ready to do this?
Yes, let's do it.
Lego.
Okay, Rodney, let me do some more horns. Do some more DJ horns for us. We're doing our first ever The Fumble Awards. I'm excited about this because we got a lot of great moments from 2024. We're going to wrap it up with our Fumble of the Year. Rodney's going to bring that to us, but we're going to start with our 2024 Best Team Award. Rodney, who you got?
I mean, besides you and I, Samaria. I was torn about this because I wanted to say the Boston Celtics, right? Like finally, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they get over the hump, they win a championship. But ironically, there has been very minimal fanfare around the Boston Celtics. And I actually had to Google who won the NBA championship last year. I had forgot. And so, which is crazy. So I think I landed on the men's UConn Huskies basketball team who won back-to-back championships, which hadn't been done since Florida back in, I believe, 2007, 2008. I landed on them. Coach Hurley is from Jersey. Jersey guy, always got to have a little Jersey storyline somewhere in the mix. But I think that that team was phenomenal. They had the chance to do a three-peat going into 2025, but it's very uncommon and very rare for a program to have sustained excellence for multiple years, let alone back-to-back years to win a championship. So that's my team of 2024.
And shout out to Dan Hurley for staying with the program because everybody thought that he was going to dip up out of there.
To go to the Lakers, Coach old-ass Bron? Hell no, that would have been terrible. Sorry, continue.
I'm going to say the South Carolina women's basketball team because they went undefeated. They defeated Caitlin Clark in the Iowa Lady Hawkeyes in the national championship game. Seeing Dawn Staley after the game emotional. I mean, they did something that we don't see often. And for them to have that dominance the entire season, they knew, they remember how it felt the year before, losing in the semifinals. They came back, didn't lose a single game last year. That's who I have to give it to, the Lady Gamecocks.
You know what's funny? I almost gave Aya women's basketball the team of the year, even though they didn't win a championship. But I know it would have been like, he's caping for whiteness. So I didn't do it. But there is something. What? You crazy. But there is something to be said about that Iowa team making it to back-to-back national championship games. The game against South Carolina, I felt like they were very overmatched. They only lost by 2 points. And I think that they brought a level of attention to women's basketball, and not even just collegiate basketball. That energy transferred and translated over to the WNBA as well. And so by proxy of that team having success, it changed people's energy and thirst for women's basketball.
I do have an honorable mention. I was going to say the Team USA women's 4x400 relay team.
Ooh. Yeah. One of them girls like the photo of mine the other day.
All right, let's move on to our next award.
That's hate. That's hate. It wasn't Sydney McLaughlin though. Shout out to Jersey.
I want to know who it was.
Mind your business. Okay,
let's move on to our next award. Biggest sports moment of the year, Rodney. And we had a lot in 2024.
Yeah, there's only one that matters to me. It's the one that has had the most engagement on the internet. It's the one that has defined this year, and that is Caitlin Clark being drafted into the WNBA. I think every single league wishes that they had a lightning rod like Caitlin Clark in their league. She changes viewership. She changes attendance. She is a supernova, and her impact is irrefutable, you know? And I think that she's a generational athlete that uniquely, like Michael Jordan, is breathing life into a league that many people started to lose interest in. And, maybe that's too strong. People out there are not going to like that. It is what it is. That's what she's been to the WNBA.
Yeah, I thought that we were going to have the same one. I'm saying LeBron James and Bronny. I thought that was a huge historic moment that happened in 2024. And I also do have an honorable mention going back to the Olympics, because the Olympics has had so many crazy. Noah Lyles winning the 100-meter in the way that he did.
Ooh, that was good.
That was a huge moment. Everybody remembers what they were doing when he won that. So
damn, I forgot about Noah Lyles in the Olympics. I'm gonna be honest. But he ain't Caitlin Clark, though. So
we're talking about one single moment.
Yeah.
One single moment.
Let's say Caitlin Clark was like, yo, I don't want to play basketball anymore. I want to be an accountant. There are so many people that wouldn't have paid attention to basketball, right? But if Noah Lyles loses that race, it doesn't really change anything, per se. So from like an impact standpoint, Caitlin being drafted into WNBA impacted the entire infrastructure of the business of women's basketball.
All right. Well, you all let us know down in the comments. What did you make of our first 2 awards? We have 2 more later on in the show.
Biggie Smalls once rapped, either you're slinging rock or you got a wicked jump shot. And well, Big, once again, things done changed, because no longer are sports the way out for people from underserved communities. The grit and toughness that made athletes from the hood coveted by college coaches and recruits has been replaced with the desire to seek out athletes from quote unquote good families. Bloodline and DNA are now words used as often to describe an athlete as quick, strong, and skilled. So this has created a pipeline of Nepo babies now taking over sports. And while Bronny James has been a major topic of discussion this year, I remember Kobe Carl, son of George Carl, getting actual NBA minutes. Arch Manning and Elijah Arenas are next up in the long line of athletes whose last name we are already familiar with. So Samaria has the dream of sports being a way out the hood been erased by the Nepo babies.
No. Because I feel like even some of the bigger names, I'm saying just because you have a name, I mean, obviously, okay, we're talking about Bronny James. His dad is LeBron James. Okay, so maybe he kind of fell through the cracks a little bit, but I still think that you have to have talent. I really do.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if not, you're going to get called out on it. But it does help if your dad is whatever. And I'm thinking about like a player like Scottie Pippen Jr., right? Played at Vanderbilt. Nobody was going to the games at the time. He was with the Lakers G League. Now he's with the Grizzlies. He's one of those guys that's been kind of quietly working and really putting in the work. I don't think that he got nothing was given to him. If I'm not mistaken, he went undrafted. I'm not really sure, but so I don't know if like nepotism is like in full swing.
He's good though. I want to acknowledge that.
Scottie Pippen Jr.
Yeah, I like his game a lot. He's going to be a pro for a very long time. But even outside of like players' sons, there are coaches' sons, right? Like there are roster spots that have been taken up by coaches' kids. For instance, damn, who I was just
Are you
watching
talking
the other
about in
day.
the league, or are you talking about college?
College, right? And
Mark Few's son.
why you on the court? Why you got a jersey, bro? You supposed to be the water boy. And there have been others. So I'm, I get that there is something to be said about genetics and DNA creating, just a super athlete or giving somebody somewhat of a physical advantage, right? Like if you're a freak athlete, Dominique Wilkins has a son that is highly regarded as well. He'll be at, I think, UGA, if I'm not mistaken. But there's just a large swath of players. Trevor Ariza's son, Matt Barnes's children. Like there are a lot of children whose parents used to be in the league who are, getting eyes. And I remember there was a time when sports in urban communities, and I'm talking primarily, Black and brown communities, right? Like it wasn't so expensive that people from these areas were priced out of competing. And now, because of the cost of participation, kids from these environments can't even afford to be a part of programs that in years past would have saved their lives. AAU basketball is ridiculously overpriced. Yeah. It's damn near pay to play, to be able to travel, right? To the gear. And now it's not just go to the park because kids ain't outside at parks anymore hooping, right? So the Nepo babies, more so than Nepo babies, there's a social economic climate in sports now that has relegated people from environments that do not have a large abundance of money or disposable cash, uncompetitive, because they cannot pay for a trainer 3 or 4 times a week. They can't pay for that customizable, personalized one-on-one interaction with a skills coach, which a lot of these children, who some of them just so happen to be Nepo babies, can pay for. And so that athlete who fostered his skill on the playground, he doesn't exist anymore because ain't nobody at the playground. It don't exist. So maybe not Nepo babies per se, but the wealthy, sports and basketball in particular has become an upper class sport.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Basketball is the new golf.
Or baseball. Baseball is high too.
Yeah, but
we're trickling out of baseball too, Black people, because it's really expensive.
Yeah, so I miss the hood. I miss the trench babies being in sports. Like I miss the Mike Vicks. I miss the Allen Iverson, because there was a level of relatability for me anyway. And that there was a culture. Now I don't really see too many athletes who create culture. They're all like perpetuating a culture that already exists. Allen Iverson came in and created culture. Mike Vick created culture. And so I think we've lost quite a bit of that and a lot of like individuality. Now the kids are so poised. We're getting like there's no personality, there's no flair. I miss it. I miss the hood guys. Anthony Edwards is kind of that, but now he's shooting 11 threes a game. So y'all let us know your thoughts on Nepo babies, or more specifically, the social economic climate of sports, whether or not it has taken the idea of hope away from people growing up in environments who do not have a lot of disposable income. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.
All right, Rodney, let's just jump right back into our Fumble Awards. Before we get to our Impact Player of the Year, we're going to start with the biggest storyline of 2024. Who you got?
Caitlin Clark. This is the Caitlin Clark Award show. There's not a more polarizing athlete in all of sports, than Caitlin Clark right now. I think anybody who would refute that is just not tapped in or not aware of just the sheer magnetism of what she brings. And she has revolutionized not the sport, but the interest and intrigue in the sport. And when you have an athlete very much like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson combined back in 1979 that can come into a league and take the energy that they had going from Indiana State and where did Magic go? And Michigan State, right? Coming out of that NCAA championship game. Boom. Now we in the pros. People follow that storyline. That is who Caitlin Clark is. That is what Caitlin Clark has been to this league. And it's spilled even outside of women's basketball. It is just a basketball story. And there's nobody like her in all of American sports right now. I don't know what you want me to say.
Any honorable mentions?
I'll give an honorable mention to to the Joker, to Nikola Jokic. I think that the level of basketball that he's playing right now, while I don't always appreciate it and value it the way that I should. I don't acknowledge it as much as I should. So I want to take a moment just to acknowledge how special he has been. He is doing historical things. He is a generational all-time talent. And so, my honorable mention would be him and Coco Gauff. Coco Gauff,
okay.
who I got really invested into tennis this year. And just to see the way people regard Coco, how poised she is. She's a beacon of light and hope for so many young Black women in this country. Coco Gauff would also be another honorable mention.
Okay. I went completely left, Rodney, and I said Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Because, Rodney, think about the way that was thrown at us. I don't like it. I didn't like it. I don't like watching Chiefs games because I don't want to see her 20 times a game. And I didn't like when the NFL came out with their promo for the 2024 season and she was shown 5 times and they showed Lamar Jackson once. That's why I'm saying it's a storyline that they fed to us every single day. And that's why I'm going to go with Taylor Swift.
You know what? That's not a bad call because, okay, you know what? Kylie Kelce, right? Jason Kelce's wife, has a podcast and it overtook Joe Rogan as the biggest podcast in the world. Who the hell is Kylie Kelce? Am I tripping? Like, yo, I get.
And it just came out too.
I didn't like Jason Kelce. He had a great career for the Eagles. Ain't nobody pay attention to Jason Kelce like that. Did nobody care about Jason Kelce to this extreme? Am I tripping? Was he Gronkowski the whole time and I was unaware? You let me know.
No, I think that he was a pretty big person on the team. I will say that on the offensive line.
But on a national level, nobody cared about Jason Kelce, right? Like I don't remember seeing Jason Kelce.
Travis had more popularity than Jason, yes.
So by virtue of being Travis's brother who's dating Taylor Swift, Jason's wife now gets to have the most popular podcast in the world. Taylor Swift casts a very wide net. She is.
Yes.
I don't know how she didn't help the presidential election if she's getting podcasters lit like this. This is crazy.
And then we talked about it too. We talked about it early in the year, the impact that she had on Travis and Jason and their podcast and their sponsorships. I mean, you cannot watch any sporting event and you will see them at least 3 or 4 times per commercial break. Why are y'all doing everything?
This is a good.
Y'all are in everything.
Yeah, this was a good call by you. That was a good one. You're right.
All right, next up is Impact Player of the Year. Rodney, why is it Caitlin Clark?
Because she...
At this point.
Because she's amazing. And she, again, brought a flair to the game that made everyone want to watch. Like, at a point, there was a storyline attached to Caitlin Clark, right? But if she would have got to the WNBA and been mid or been like subpar or even just average, none of this would matter. But she came into the league and she dominated. She was a first team all WNBA player, which means by all accounts, she was the best point guard in the WNBA in her rookie season. And many people feel like she wasn't even at her best. So Caitlin, of course, wins this award. I want to acknowledge a couple of more people. I want to acknowledge Juju. And then I'll go, man, there's a lot of white basketball players now. Cooper Flag is hella white hoopers.
He's been impactful.
Yeah, and so
he's been impactful.
And so has Dylan Harper for Rutgers basketball. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I definitely, no question, Caitlin Clark, especially after being named Time Female Athlete of the Year and the way
Athlete of the Year, not female. Athlete of the Year.
Athlete of the Year. Excuse me. I'm sorry about that. Time Magazine Athlete of the Year. And the way that she stepped up and said, you know what? I'm a part of a league. I'm serious because she didn't have to do that. She didn't have to do any of that. She didn't have to go against her fan base. She could have been very comfortable in saying nothing because we see it every day. But the fact that she did that, I'm like, you know what? Like, you're really making an impact. You're really at least trying to get people to understand the WNBA and how it's structured, and the people who made it to what it is. And so for that, kudos, Caitlin Clark. I'm going to give you all the honors, because you didn't have to do that. She really could have just said nothing, Rodney. You know that.
I love Black women, yo. I think y'all are so incredible.
Why?
Black women had this desire to be acknowledged by Caitlin Clark, and to be, to a degree, to have a statement issued of protection from Caitlin Clark, right? And I'm seeing it online. Until she made this most recent statement in the Time magazine article, there were a large population of Black women who were not rocking with Caitlin Clark. But as soon as she acknowledges them, now all of a sudden they can acknowledge her greatness on the court. I just find it...
No, Rodney. You No, that is absolutely wrong.
Okay.
I think that more people were upset at her fan base and what they represent.
But they blamed Caitlin for not making a statement to protect them from the vitriol that her fan base was spewing. And they put it on Caitlin's shoulders and back. And now that she made a simple statement, again, it's just words. It don't really solve anything, right? But because she made this statement, now she's acceptable. I think it's fascinating. I can't speak
for everybody else. I don't know who you were following, but I'm saying for me, I've never doubted her talent on the court. I've never doubted that. I think that I was more so upset at her fan base, not at her. Because like I said, she didn't have to say anything. And I would have been like, whatever. She didn't have to say a word.
There were times in which you downplayed her ability a little bit. I'll say that.
The only time I said that she shouldn't have been somewhere was on the Olympic roster. And we all know, everybody can say that she shouldn't have been on that Olympic roster. That's the only time.
There were times when I mentioned that she was the best point guard in the league and you scoffed.
That's extreme.
Well, we are, you know what? Even when we are agreeing, somehow Caitlin has created a conversation of tension between you and I, even though we both give her this award, which goes to show just how impactful she has been.
Yes, you all let us know. What do you make of our last two Fumble Awards, Impact Player of the Year, and the biggest storyline? You drop that down in the comments below, and then stay tuned because we do have our Fumble of the Year coming up later in the show.
So by now, you all should know that Fumble of the Week is my pride and joy. It gives me a chance to get my off and talk reckless. And there have been some really good fumbles this year, from Rudy Gobert to Jerry Jones, Stephen A. Smith to Conor McGregor. But there can only be one that wins the title, the most illustrious title of Fumble of the Year. So Samaria, who are you giving the Fumble of the Year to?
Off the dome, Deshaun Watson.
Why Deshaun Watson?
Because I just feel like you've been nasty. You still nasty. And then when it was time for you to show up on the field, you didn't do that. And these people done paid you. So you're bad. You're a bad player and you're a bad person. I'm sorry, Deshaun, but you get the Fumble of the Year.
Damn. All right. I get, if we're keeping it sports, so I can't go Diddy. I can't say America. Did we fumble? If we're keeping it sports, I'm going to give the Fumble of the Year to the Minnesota Timberwolves and their GM, because I think trading Karl Anthony Towns away from Anthony Edwards is one of the worst decisions that a front office has made since the Oklahoma City Thunder traded James Harden to the Rockets. I think they traded a guy who is, at worst, a top 3 center in the league. This year has been a top 2 center in the league, with only Jokic playing better than him. And by taking him away from Anthony Edwards, they have stunted Ant's ability to have team success. And I think that he was on course to be the guy in the league. And I don't think he can do that without having team success. And now they have a gaping hole in the middle of their roster. Julius Randle is no Karl Anthony Towns. And now he's stuck with bum-ass Rudy Gobert. And he just gave Rudy Gobert an extension. So he's stuck with him for like 5 or 6 more years. So I'm giving the Timberwolves Fumble of the Year and also they traded all their first round draft picks for Rudy Gobert. They don't have a first round draft pick for like 4 years. So yeah, it's definitely the Timberwolves front office. Worst trade of all time on 2 fronts.
Honorable mention, Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
For sure. Because everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. You got your players thinking they're exhibits at the zoo. The ceiling is falling in Jerry's world. Y'all not winning. You talking about players' private parts.
Jerry be looking at them.
And not only just looking at it, but you're talking about their members. And you didn't go out and get Derrick Henry. You just don't know what you're doing. You just don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, those are our Fumble of the Year winners. Man, woo! Let us know your thoughts. Is there anybody out there who you feel like should have been the Fumble of the Year recipient for 2024?
All right, that's all for this week. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another episode of The Fumble. Make sure to subscribe to The Fumble and at The Fumble Sports on all of our social media platforms. We deliver the latest in sports every day on our YouTube page with our girl Jackie Ray, and every Friday right here at The Fumble with myself, Samaria Terry, and my co-host, Rodney Rikai. Happy holidays!
It's not too late to send me a gift. Let me get that. Hey, let me get that.